Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to ASTC. So, in this video, we will be continuing with the last lecture of chapter number 35, okay, which is estimating the mean for grouped frequency distribution. So, in the previous two videos, we have covered on how to do various calculations like mean, median, mode, and range on raw data. Then we did calculations on ungrouped frequency distribution table. Okay. And now finally we will be looking at how to estimate the mean if the data that is given to us is grouped in a frequency table. So when we say grouped, that basically means that you no longer have the exact values. Okay. You no longer have the exact values, but instead the data that is given to you is given in a range. Okay. So grouped data means that raw data or individual values are not given, but instead data is given in intervals. Hence, the mean value is only an estimate. Okay, so let's take a look at the question. Example 1 is the chemistry test scores for a group of 40 students are shown in the grouped frequency table below. Okay, so this is how a grouped frequency table looks like. So now you do not know that what were the individual scores of each student, but you know that if, let's say, I have categorized the marks as this range. Okay, so like who got or how many students got marks between 0 and 20? So there were two students. How many students got marks between 20 and 40? So there were four students. How many students got marks between 40 and 60? So there were 14 students, and so on. So this is what it tells you. It only gives you an interval that, okay, within this interval, how much of that data lies within this test score. Okay, within this range, how many students were able to score within this range? So that was 14 students. Okay, now the first thing is, okay, so the question is calculate an estimate for the mean test result. Okay, now because you're not aware of the exact values, that is why what we have to do here is, if I'm talking about the interval 0 to 20, okay, so because usually what happens is, if we just go back a little over here, when we were trying to work out the mean scores in part 1, okay, so we needed to calculate the mean score. Okay, in this case, so what we do, we multiply the x values with the frequency values, plus this multiply by this, plus this multiply by this, and so on, right? This is how we worked out, because here we knew the exact values, but over here we do not know the exact value, and we do not even know which value to take. So what we are going to do is, we will calculate the midpoint or the mid values for each interval, something that we can take as an average value, that what was the average score within this interval, and that would be 10. Okay, so the difference, or you can say the average of 20 and 0. So 20 plus 0 divided by 2, that would give us 10. Similarly over here, now how many students got marks between 20 and 40? There were four students. But if I want to do a calculation, I need a mid value, right? Something that can represent the average of this interval. That would be the central value, which is 30. And how do we work it out? All we have to do is we add 20 plus 40, and then we divide this by 2. So this is how we find the mean of these two values. So we'll continue this process. So that is going to be the first step. So find the midpoint of each interval. So an example is that if I want to find the midpoint of the interval 40 to 60, so that would be 40 plus 60 divided by 2, that gives us 50. Okay. Then step number 2 will be find the value of fx for each interval. This is the same step as we have done in the previous lecture. So this is going to act my x value, okay, the midpoint, and then this will be my f. So now I'm going to multiply the frequency with the midpoint values. After that, calculate the sigma fx and sigma f. So we need to now calculate the sum of fx and the sum of f. Finally, mean is equal to sigma fx divided by sigma f. All right. So these are four steps. which we use to calculate or estimate the mean of a given grouped frequency distribution table. So let's work this out. We already know the scores from the question. Okay, this is how we have worked out the midpoint. Okay, make sure that you show your working, because this is a 4 mark question. Okay, this entire question is of 4 marks, so you have to show your working. How you get the midpoint values, you have to show that. So that was the first step. The second step is to find out the fx, right? So you make a and you make another column. Okay, in this column, this is my x value, this is my f value. So 10 times 2, that would be 20. 30 times 4, that would be 120. 50 times 14, and that would be 700, and so on. Okay, after that, work out the sum of fx, add all of these values, that would give us 2320. Then sigma f. Now sigma f is usually already given to you in the question, right? How many students attempted the test? There were 40 students. In case if they don't give you, then you just add the frequency values. So that would be sigma f. Okay, but only rarely it happens that they don't give you. Otherwise they usually tell you that how many students were there. So you know that that is the sum of frequency. Finally, step number 4 would be to calculate the mean, which is sigma fx divided by sigma f, and that would give us 58. The next question is, what is the model class interval? Now, this question is equivalent to saying that what is the mode. But to find the mode, we need to know an exact value, right? But we do not have the exact values. So instead, what we can do is we can find out that, okay, we do not know what is the mode, but what is the model class interval? That, okay, in which class interval were there the highest number of students? So we can see from the frequency table that this is the interval in which most of the students scored, right? This is the highest frequency value. So therefore my model class interval is going to be 40 to 60. Okay, all right, so let's move to our practice sheet now. Okay, question number 1 is, Raj measures the height h centimeter of 70 plants. Okay, so this is your sigma f value. They've already given it to you in the question. The table shows the information. So the height is between 10 and 20. You have frequency of 7, then 20 to 40, then you have 15 frequency, and so on. Okay, calculate an estimate of the mean height of the plants. Okay, all right. Now, step number 1 is that you have to make a table. Okay, so let me write this down. You do not have to copy down everything from here, only the required values would be enough. So first of all, I'm going to write down frequency. Okay, and let's make a straight line over here. After that, I'm going to make a straight line over here. The next column would be of midpoint, and that would be represented by x. Okay, so the frequency values, let me write this down. The first is 7, then 15, 27, 13, and 8. The midpoint is going to be, for 7, the midpoint is going to be between 20 and 10, right? So 10 plus 20 divided by 2, that gives us 30 upon 2, which is 15. Then for a frequency of 15, my midpoint is going to be between 20 and 40. So that would be 30. Then 40 plus 50 divided by 2 is equal to 45. Now look over here. There was a difference of 10 in this interval. There was a difference of 20 in this interval. Again, you have a difference of 10. So you see this can change. All right. Then for 13, okay, let me write 13 a little bit down. So for 13, we have 50 plus 60 divided by 2. That would be 55. And for 8, we have 60 plus 90 divided by 2. So that would be 75. Okay. So these are your x values. Now I'm going to draw a column for fx. Here we multiply the frequency with the midpoint. So 7 times 15. Then here we have 15 times 30. Then here we have 27 times 45. Then 13 times 55 and 8 times 75. So now I'm going to work all of them out. 7 times 15 is going to be 105. 15 times 3 is 45, so this would be 450. 27 into 45, that would be 12, 15. 13 into 55 is 715. And 8 multiplied by 75 is 600. Okay. Now that we have done this, let me draw a straight line over here. Now step 2 is to find out sigma f and sigma fx, right? So sigma f is already given to you, which is 70, right? So this is already given in the question. Now I need to find out what is sigma fx. So that would be 105 plus 450 plus 1215 plus 715 plus 600. Okay, add them all up. So you would get 3084. Okay, step 3, mean is equal to sigma fx divided by sigma f. So that would be 3084 divided by 70. Okay, so 3084 divided by 70, that would give us 44.1 centimeters. So this is my mean score, sorry, mean height of the plants. So you can see that in the lecture I told you about 4 steps, but here I have narrowed it down to 3 steps. Okay, because the second step was to calculate the fx, right? So I've actually included it within the table. So uh, the step number 1 is going to be to make the table. Within that table, you calculate the midpoint and you calculate the fx. Second step is work out sigma f and sigma fx, and then step 3, work out the mean. All right. So let's move to question number 2 now. The time taken for each of 90 cars to complete one lap of a racetrack is shown in the table. Write down the model time interval. Now, model time interval means, as we have discussed earlier, that it is going to be the interval in which you have the highest frequency value. So we can see the highest frequency value is this one. Therefore, my model time interval is going to be 71 to 72. All right, part B, calculate an estimate of the mean time. Again, first step is we draw the table and we start with frequency. Okay, so let me draw a straight line. The first column is going to be of frequency. Then the second column is going to be of midpoint, represented by x. And then we have fx, right? So the frequency is 17, 24, 21, 18, and 10. The midpoint is going to be 70 plus 71 divided by 2, that would be 70.5. Then 71 plus 72 divided by 2, that would be 71.5. Then for a frequency of 21, it would be the midpoint of 72 and 73. So 72 plus 73 divided by 2 is equal to 72.5. Then for 18, 73 and 74. 73 plus 74 upon 2 equals 73.5. Then 74 plus 75 divided by 2, and that would be 74.5. Okay, now the next step is going to be calculating the fx values. So here we have 17 into 70.5, then we have 24 into 71.5, 21 into 72.5, 18 into 73.5, and then 10 into 74.5. So this would be 745. The rest ones will work it now. 17 times 70.5, and that gives us 1198.5. 24 into 71.5, that gives us 1716. Then 21 into 72.5, that would be 1522.5. 18 times 73.5, we have 1323. Okay, that was step number one. Step two is work out sigma f, which was given to you as 90, right? There were a total of 90 cars. Sigma fx will be the sum of all the fx values. So we have 1198.5 plus 1716 plus 1522.5 plus 1323 plus 745. Okay, so when you add all of them up, let's see what do we get. All right, so we get 6505. Okay, and now finally step 3 is mean is equal to sigma fx over sigma f. So that is 6505 divided by 90, and that gives us 72.3 seconds. Okay, make sure you give your final answer to 3SF if it is not an exact value. So hopefully this won't be as difficult. It is a bit tedious, yes, you have to write a lot, but also you're getting 4 marks for this, right? Now there is something that I want to tell you. Usually the question is just going to be like this. Okay, they don't have different variations of this question, but we cannot trust them, right? So they can ask you in any way. So if they want, what they can do is maybe they might give you the mean time, and they might ask you that what is sigma fx. Okay, so in that case, you already know the mean, you already know the sigma f, you can work this out. All right, or maybe they give you sigma f, sigma fx, right? But maybe one of the fx values is unknown, or maybe one of the frequency values is unknown. Something from this table could be unknown, right? And they can give you the other values. So even if that is the case, okay, don't panic. What you have to do is always follow the method. The method is always going to be the same, right? Yes, the sum of the frequency, if let's say that there was, let's say this value was unknown, and we just call it x, and this is what we need to find out. So at the end of the day, all my calculations are going to be in terms of x. So x is just a single variable. You can do algebraic manipulations at the end, and then you can find the value of x. But what's most important thing is, keep in mind that the method does not change just because the question has been altered a little bit. Okay, so this is just a different variation of how the question can be asked, but it does not change the fact that the method is going to be the same. All right, question number 3. The table shows the amount of money x dollars given to a charity by each of 60 people. calculate an estimate of the mean. Okay, so again, here we are going to do the same thing. The question is the same. So step number one, calculate frequency. Sorry, not calculate frequency, it is already given to you. Write the frequency as your first column in the table. Then we have midpoint. Okay, and then we are going to have fx. So let me draw the straight line. All right, so the frequency values are given to you. So we have 21, we have 16, then 6, then 10, and 7. The midpoint is going to be 0 plus 20 upon 2, and that is 10. Then 20 plus 25 upon 2, and that will be 22.5. Then we have 25 plus 35 divided by 2, and that would be 30, right? Then we have 35 plus 50 upon 2, and that would be 42.5. Okay, then the last one is 50 plus 100 divided by 2, and that would be 75. Okay, let me just double check. So the first one is 10, then 22.5, 30, and 42.5, 75. All right. Now the fx values will be 21 times 10. So this would be 210. 16 times 22.5. Then we have 6 times 30. This would be 180. Then 10 times 42.5. This would be 425. And 7 times 75. Okay, so we'll work this out. 7 times 75 is 525. Then 16 times 22.5 will be 360. All right, that is your step number one. Step two is write sigma f. So here also we know that there were 60 people, so that would be your sigma f. Calculate sigma fx. That would be 210 plus 360 plus 180 plus 425 plus 525. Okay, so let's add them up. Okay, plus 425 plus 525, and that gives us exactly 1700. Step number 3, mean is equal to sigma fx over sigma f. So sigma fx will be 1700 divided by 60, right? Zeros they cancel out. So 170 divided by 60 is equal to, sorry, 170 divided by 6 now. So that would be 28.3. Okay, look, your working should be good, it should be presentable, it shouldn't be messy. Okay, because if your working is messy, then you're just creating difficulty for the examiner, and ultimately you're creating difficulty for yourself. The more clear your work is, okay, the easier it will be for the examiner to judge your answer and to see that okay, how your working has been done, and the easier it will be to just give you whole 4 marks. Okay, now the next question, question number 4, I would say that this is your homework, or you could say that try this out right now. Pause the video and try this out right now, okay, before you continue. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video for a little bit. Okay, in the meanwhile, I want you to try this question out and then compare your answer with the solution. All right, so I hope that now you have tried this question by yourself and hopefully you got an answer. So let's do this. The first column is going to be frequency. And here we can see that we have 100 students. Okay, to that the question is about the time taken by 100 students to solve a puzzle. All right, so the first one is going to be my frequency table. uh, Let me draw a column. Oops, just a minute. All right, so that's the first column for frequency. Then the second column will be for midpoint, represented by x. And then the third column is going to be fx. Okay, now the frequency values are 9, 18, 22, 30, and 21. So for 9, we have midpoint value of 0 plus 10 upon 2, that is 5. Then 10 plus 15 upon 2, that would be 12.5. Then 15 plus 20 over 2, that would be 17.5. Then 20 plus 40 divided by 2, that would be 60 upon 2, which is 30. Then 40 plus 75 divided by 2. Okay, so this one would be 57.5. Now fx will be frequency times the midpoint value, so 9 times 5, that is 45. Then we have 18 times 12.5. Then we have 22 times 17.5. Then we have 30 times 30, which would be 900. And finally 21 times 57.5. So now we're going to work them out. So 18 times 12.5 gives us 225. 22 multiplied by 17.5 gives us 385. And 21 multiplied by 57.5 gives us 1207.5. Okay, that was step 1. Step 2 is write sigma f, which was 100 because there were 100 students who took place, who 100 students who participated in solving the puzzle. Then sigma fx would be adding all these values: 45 plus 225 plus 385 plus 900 plus 1207.5. Okay, so you add them all up. Okay, plus 385 plus 900 plus 1207.5, that gives us 2762.5. Okay, now the last step will be mean is equal to sigma fx divided by sigma f. Sigma fx is 2762.5 divided by 100. So here we can just shift the decimal point. So my answer will be 27.625. Do not round this answer because this is already an exact value. So you don't have to round this value. Okay. So we are going to write down the exact same thing over here, 27.625. Now the question is that if you would have rounded this to 3 decimal places, would your answer have been incorrect? The answer is yes. You would have lost 1 mark for this one. Okay, because look, you don't the only reason why we have to round off an answer is when the answer is not exact, right? Because look, let me ask you one simple question. If let's say that you obtain a value of 287, right? We don't usually round this to 290 for no reason, right? We don't just round it off to 290. We already have 287, so why round it off to 290? But yes, if I have a question that it says 287.5, Now compared to 287, this zero point 0.5 is significantly very small value. That is why we usually round this off. Okay, but over here we don't really have to round this off. Okay, we'll give the exact value. All right. So anyhow, this is the end of our lecture 35.3, and this is also the end of our chapter number 35. Okay, so I hope that you understood all of these lectures, and that we have covered related to this mean, median, mode, and range. And in the next video, we will be continuing with the next chapter. So till then, take care. Assalamu alaikum.